Okay, so uh, welcome you again over here on the platform of MS Team. Thank you so much for joining me. So before this, we discussed about the risk and return, about some theories of the risk and return, about the EMH theory, about the macrostructure theory, about the portfolio theory, about the capital assets pricing theory. Uh, then we discussed that risk is just like you have throw a coin in the air and you don't know about it, whether it will be head or tail. So what will be the return? You are not certain about it, but uh, according to some economists, some financial gurus, they have introduced some different type of tactics through which you can minimize the risk. So these tactics can be applied to different type of market. Like the first and the most important thing, you have to keep the point in mind, the data of the market, that in which market you are going to invest. Like I will share a research paper with you people today. Uh, you can have a lot of research paper on the risk and return on the capital assets pricing model that is done in different countries, that is done in developed countries, that is done in underdeveloping countries, that is get done in different type of developed and developing countries. Everywhere in every market you can have the research paper. So keeping the point in mind that you you got some discussion about the mean, about the standard deviations. So this discussion can be made very simple if you compare the research paper of different countries. Like for example, if you make a comparative analysis of US market research paper and Pakistani market research paper, so you can have a different type of arithmetic mean with a different type of standard deviations. Why? Because the deviations in Pakistani market is far higher than the US market. So in such a situations, what you will do, the only thing and the first thing is that you have to select the very juicy market where you will invest. Another thing, not only selection of the juicy market, there are a number of different organizations who individually have their goodwill or badwill in the market. So you will also consider the market conditions, then you will consider the market by itself, then you will consider the industry where you are going to invest, then you will consider the firms or the company that is functional in that industry you are going to invest, and then you will consider the business, the nature of the business you are going to invest. So before going to invest, it is not like that you have to close your eyes. Closing the eyes is not the thing. What you have to do, you have to okay, I'm sorry, I got some trouble. So what I was discussing, that it is not the only thing you take the risk. Risk should be calculated. Risk should be on the basis of the data. Risk should be on the basis of the market. Now coming to the original point, we are discussing that we are discussing the determination of the expected return that may be in the shape of the discrete, and then we had this determination of the expected return based on the standard deviations. Here we also have the return based on the based on the risk and return. Then we discuss about this risk measures. This is a measure of the risk, and this is a standard deviation. The more the standard deviation, the more you are away from the risk. Here is the calculation of the standard deviation. This will always be called as the expected return. Like standard deviation will tell you the assessment or the measurement that there is an expectation of the target you have set. Like you said that you will earn 50 million, but the standard deviation will tell you how much you will deviate from the target. Okay, then this is a calculation of the standard deviation. Like for example, it is 13.15. What if it is 20.15? For example, if one standard deviation is 13.15 and other one is 20, which is the best?
13.
Hello?
13 will be better.
13.5. 13.15.
Yes, that is good, because this is the minimum, and it means you are minimum deviating from your target. That is
Yes.
good. So how you will bring, like, this is only a simple calculation. This is only for stock BW. This is only what you will do. Like you are now a scholar. I can give you 50 companies for 10 years whose data can more than be a 300 or 400, even in thousands. But you can do this arithmetic calculation very simple in Stata. I showed you in Stata. Did you remember? I gave you the video where you just write the sum and you got the standard deviation, the arithmetic mean, the minimum and maximum. Did you remember?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
This standard deviations is not, you can say, it's not a very helicopter concept. You can get the standard deviation in front of every variable for so many years without very much hurdle in Stata. If you know about the Stata, then you will just write the sum and the standard deviation in front of every individual variable will come to you. Then you can decide. This slide is only built for stock BW. This is a simple thing, but what is your responsibility, that you should think that I will judge the market of different companies based on the standard deviation and mean by having their previous data in the Excel sheet, and I will put that data into this data, and on this data I will have their measure of central tendency like mean, and I will have their results of measure of dispersion like standard deviations and minimum and maximum. So like this is a data they are showing, like you can see this is a data. This data is simply only for stock BW. You can have 500 companies in your Excel sheet and you can have 10 years data of that, like 500 multiplied by 10, it will become 5,000 observation. But don't worry for that, as you know, as I shared on my video with you, as you did it in advance, that 5,000 observation, 1 lakh observation, not a big deal. You just go to the Stata, copy the Excel sheet, paste in the Stata window, just go write the sum, you will get the results of the minimum, maximum, arithmetic mean, and people are not
Standard
with me.
deviation.
Yes, that is good. So you basically, this is only slides to tell you your job will be like that. Okay, you have to select a population from the stock market, and that then you have to select a sample from that population, and then you have to collect the data from that sample, and then the data will be put into the Excel sheet, and then the Excel sheet will be copied to the Stata, and then you can run this data for univariate, bivariate, and multivariate analysis, and so on. Okay, so this is coefficient of variation formula. This is also, this is standard deviation formula. This is also like for what? For the risk measurement. So moving to the like in previously what we studied the expected return for the individual assets. Now this is the same formula. Like this formula is just like the formula of this formula on slide 8 and formula on slide 13 are same, but that is for the individual, and now this is for the portfolio. What is the difference between individual investment and portfolio investment?
सर पोर्टफोलियो में हमारे पास डिफरेंट कंपनीज के फॉर एग्जांपल स्टॉक्स होते हैं, हमने फुल वेटेज में से फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आपके पास 100% इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो आप उसका पार्ट हर किसी उसमें इन्वेस्ट करते हो, तो उसका आपने वेटेज देखना होता है। और इंडिविजुअल में तो आपने सिर्फ एक में कितना इन्वेस्ट किया उसका आप रिटर्न देखोगे।
So simple, that is very good answer, very explained answer, but so simple. To keep it very simple, portfolio is a bag where you should not put only eggs into it. You have to put all the other things in order to save the eggs as well. So individual investment in one stock or in one company or in one company shares, but portfolio is basically like Unilever is doing, like Allpers have the Allpers, the Allwells, I think so they have the fertilizers companies as well. They have the juices company as well. Similarly, Nestle is doing, Unilever is doing. They have a lot of businesses and they have developed the portfolio of businesses. Why they are doing this? Because in one or other way, if there is any loss in individual investment, if you invest in one item like one company or one assets, and if you got a loss, so it means that is 100% loss charged to you. But if you have a portfolio developed with you, then to some extent in one or other way you can get the profit from it. So this is only the formula are the same. This is the formula. The 13 slide formula is just like formula on the slide of the 8A. Similarly, this is the standard deviation formula. We have studied this formula, I think so, on the before that, but this is a portfolio formula for that. So my objective is to tell you about the concepts, about the risk and return concepts, about its connection with the theories, about the market, about the companies, about the population, about the samples, about the data, what, how, where, when, what type of data you need, when you need it, from where you will get the data, how you will run the data, what will be your analysis on the basis of the data, or which data is risk pertinent, which data is risk averse, where the risk is absolute, where is the risk is minimum, how you will measure this, we will study this as well. But in this chapter, your assumption that currently you are seated in a stock exchange or in a business community, and you are very much interested in return, but with every return you have to invest, and with every investment there is a risk, and you are thinking for minimization the risk, and the first and the most discussed way for minimizing the risk is to develop a portfolio. Like, don't invest into individual items or individual business, go for the portfolio business. And if you will invest in different sectors, then obviously if you get a loss from other sector, then accumulatively the other sectors will get a profit. Then with the accumulated income statement you can earn. So this is the concept that you are in a stock exchange, you are a researcher, you are researching. How you will research? You need a data. What type of data you need? The sector you are involved, what type of companies you are involved, their samples, their data, and then you have to do this like the first step in the video I shared with you about this data. The first step I did with you is the sum is the descriptive statistic, is the univariate analysis, where you saw the standard deviations, the mean and the minimum and maximum. Why all these are happening? Because you have to go for the measure of central tendency in the start. Similarly, if you are a researcher, if you are a scholar, if you are seated in the market, you have to go to all these things. So currently we are studying the chapter risk and return. We are just making the relationship of this chapter with the theories of EMH, theories of macrostructure theory, portfolio theory, and capital assets pricing model theory. Then we need a data, we need a population, we need a sample, we need to run this sample. For this we need this data. For data we have to develop an Excel sheet where the data of all the sample will be available. We have to copy that data and we'll put in the window of the data. Then we will run it. The first run will be the descriptive analysis, that is also called univariate analysis. That is on the basis of minimum, maximum, and standard deviation and mean as well. So this is your job. This is actually your job to think about your market, analyze the market, think about the problem of the market, make the questions for the problem, make the objectives for those problems, make a hypothesis for those problems, and then hypothesis will be tested through the data regressions, and then you will give a suggestion to the market whether you have to invest, because your suggestion will lead to the minimizations of the risk and maximization of the return. So you are getting the points, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so moving to the next slides. So which is the best? Can you tell me? This is the slides. So based on the return, standard deviation, and coefficient of variation, based on the return, which is the best?
Sir, stock C.
Stock C, yeah, that is good. That's return is 9%. So it is stock C, yes. So based on standard deviation,
Stock D.
Stock D.
stock D, that's great, that's great. And coefficient of variation,
Stock D.
stock D, that is okay, but stock D is better if you invest individually, but if you invest in the portfolio, so portfolio means stock D and C, you invested over there, then it will minimize the coefficient of variation. So keep these points in mind for exams. I can give you these type of question, I can write all these type things, and I can ask you which stock is better. You are getting point? So this is your exam preparation as well. Keep the slide ready. Moving to one of the most most thought, most like most famous as well, capital assets pricing account. If you have any questions, please tell me, and we will move to the next. Yes, okay. So let's move to the capital asset pricing model that describes the relationship between risk and return. In this model, yield expected return is the risk-free rate plus a premium based on the systematic risk. Look at this. Where is the problem in this definition? कहाँ पे है problem? I'm audible, please. Problems कहाँ पे? This definition. I'm audible, please tell me.
Yes, sir.
The problem is systematic risk. Because this formula is only working for systematic risk, it cannot measure the unsystematic risk. But still, this is one of the most famous formula in the world that they can measure to some extent the systematic risk. Another problem is the risk-free. Okay, this is okay. Risk-free is okay in the US market, but the premium is very difficult to get in Pakistani market. You're getting my point? Okay, let me show the formula, then you will be easily understand. Okay, this one. This is what? This is risk-free. Okay, and this one, this beta belongs to the sensitivity of the market. Beta belongs to the sensitivity of the market, while RF is the risk-free. It means that whatsoever happen to the market, you will get this portion. Is it correct? Is it you're getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It means that whatsoever happen to the market, you will get this. Like for example, if someone tell you that I will give you 6%, rest 6% is risk-free. Rest belongs to the beta, belongs to the market. Okay, you're getting it? Okay, means case someone says that I will give you a return of 6% on your investment, and if you earn more, then the more will be added from the market to your return. So here the word beta is basically a systematic risk, basically measure the sensitivity of the market. Okay, and this is what expected return. This is a market portfolio, these two. So in simple word, what does this means? That you are safe up till here, your return is safe up till here, but the next portion is tied up with the market. Okay, next this portion is tied up with the market. So the word market is very much important because we have different type of market based on the EMH theory. So in my opinion, if you talk about Pakistani market, then it is very difficult that you will get this return in a very easy way. However, in US market, you can get it. This RF is fixed, you will get it at any cost, no issue either in Pakistani market or anywhere else. But the other part of the formula is very much interesting, that is talking about the sensitivity of the market based on the systematic risk. Okay, so what basically this means, this CAPM, this capital assets pricing formula, if we talk or if we think about the EMH theory, so it is very much implemented in strong market. It is very much implemented in strong market rather than in weak market, because in weak market we have a lot of systematic risk issues. When we have this systematic risk issue, it means the beta will be very much difficult to get the return from the market, because this is the sensitivity of the risk. So for example, let me show you what are the assumptions of the CAPM. This is the assumption of the CAPM. The first assumption: capital markets are efficient. So the first assumption is basically negating the EMH theory. समझ आ रही ना बात? You are getting me? Like, hello, I'm audible?
सर आपकी आवाज
Yes,
बहुत
sir.
कट रही है, सही नहीं आ रही।
Okay, I'm audible now.
Yes, sir, बेहतर है।
Okay, देखिए, I'm just discussing that capital asset pricing model is a model that is very difficult to be implemented in Pakistani market, because Pakistani market is not an efficient market. And you can see the first assumption is that the market should be very much efficient, where you want to use the capital asset pricing model. So if we talking about the justification, so in Pakistani market you cannot use the capital assets pricing model, because Pakistani market cannot meet the assumption of the CAPM. Is it? You got it?
Yes, sir.
सर एफिशिएंट मार्केट का क्या मतलब है?
Sorry?
एफिशिएंट मार्केट का क्या मतलब है? कौन सी मार्केट?
Where buyer and seller will be fully informed, where the market will not variate in a one night stay, where the volatility of the stock return or the currency measurement or the currency exchange will not be so much in a hurry. So all the market will be so much mature, and the market of the developed country of this strong market is always considered the efficient market. ओके,
ओके सर।
समझ आई आपको? मतलब ये है कि जो एफिशिएंट मार्केट होते हैं वो स्ट्रॉन्ग मार्केट होते हैं, दैट विल बी द एफिशिएंट मार्केट। इसके अलावा होमोजेनियस, काइंडली हु इज दिस? आई थिंक समवन इज इन मार्केट। ओके, homogeneous investor expectation over a given period. So this is another thing. Okay, this is another thing, that homogeneous investor will be alike. It is very difficult because you cannot get the homogeneous investor everywhere. Risk-free assets, it's okay, this can be implemented in Pakistan, but the next one is systematic risk, that is market portfolio contains only systematic risk. So CAPM is discussing only the systematic risk. They have no clue about the unsystematic risk, and for sure unsystematic risk cannot be disclosed by them because it's very difficult. Like COVID-19, you cannot do anything to COVID-19. So this was the discussion about the CAPM. Now look over here about the beta. Beta will tell you the systematic risk. Beta will tell you the beta from where? Beta is from the, like here, beta is this one, the beta is here, beta. So let's see the definition of the beta. It is an index of systematic risk. It is a sensitivity. It measures the sensitivity. It measures the sensitivity of the market that will affect the overall market. So how we can read the beta? You can see beta greater than 1 when you will do the analysis. And if the beta is greater than 1, it means that investor is in aggressive mode. Like in the market, the investor is investing in aggressive. Beta is equal to 1. It means that there is not aggression, not defensive. So there is a 50-50 from the investor in the market. While beta is less than 1, it means The investor is very much defensive. They are playing very carefully. They are investing very carefully. They are scared from the market, and they play only in defensive mode because they don't believe on the beta, because the systematic risk can hit their return, because the risk and their return can be interchangeably in the shape of the loss. That is why if beta is greater than 1, investor will be aggressive and he will invest, and if beta is less than 1, there he will be defensive, he will be shy, he will be not you can say a risk taker, and so on. Okay, let me take a call, then I'm coming to you. Okay, so where we were in CAPM. So next, this is the CAPM, this is the formula of the CAPM, and then security market line, risk premium. You can see the green belt. Green belt means that you are safe. You will get this because this is risk-free return. If someone promised you that I will give you 6% or 5%, so it will fall over here in the green line, in the risk-free return. And the rest belongs to risk premium. Risk premium is basically tied up with the beta. Like this RF is the green belt. You can see this is the green belt and very smooth. Look, you can, there is no variation in it. You will get it. However, with the risk premium, you can see it is variating from low to high. So this risk premium is tied up with this beta. And if beta is greater than 1 and if beta is less than 1, greater than 1, people will invest in aggressive mode. Less than 1, people will be in a defensive. Like if you want to understand this graph, look at this graph. This is smooth and the green belt is risk free. You will get this at any cost, while risk premium is over here. This risk premium is tied up with the second portion of the CAPM formula, and that is tied up with the systematic risk, that is tied up with the beta, that is tied up with the market sensitivity, that is tied up with the aggressiveness or defensiveness of the market, and that is tied up with the risk and return that will be based on the risk premium. So you can get this premium, but nevertheless keep this point in mind that this premium is very much assured in developed country market. However, if you get a good risk-free return, then go for it. Otherwise, if the risk-free is also less and you are tied up with the risk premium in a low economy market, so this will be dangerous for you.
सर एक क्वेश्चन पूछना है.
Oh yes.
सर आपने बताया ना कि बीटा जब ग्रेटर देन 1 होगा तो वो एग्रेसिवनेस शो करेगा. तो सर फेवरेबल होगा और एग्रेसिवनेस के सेंस में सर आप इसके थोड़े से पॉइंट्स प्लीज एक्सप्लेन कर दें.
सॉरी आपकी आवाज कट गई.
सर मैं रिपीट करती हूँ. सर मैंने आपसे ये पूछना है कि सर आपने बताया ना बीटा ग्रेटर देन 1 होगा तो वो एग्रेसिव नेचर को शो करेगा. तो सर मैंने ये पूछना है कि जब बीटा ग्रेटर देन 1 होगा तो वो फेवरेबल कंडीशन होगी, क्योंकि उसमें एग्रेसिव नेचर में मतलब रिस्क टेकिंग, वो इन्वेस्टर जो होगा वो रिस्क टेकर होगा, तो वो फेवरेबल होगा.
अब रिस्क इज नॉट अ फेवरेबल. Risk is not a favorable. This is only telling you that investment will come in a bulk. Investor will be trusting the market. Investor is trusting the beta. Investor is trusting that systematic risk will be low. Investor is trusting that the market, the systematic risk can be easily avoidable. That is why he is aggressive in his investment in the. Otherwise, on the other hand, the investor don't have the too much trust in the market. He think that the market systematic risk can hit his return. Maybe he is in the thought that this systematic risk will have a big impact on his return, and he also can think that this systematic risk cannot be diversified as soon as needed. That's why he plays very safe.
ओके सर, थैंक यू, क्लियर हो गया।
Okay. Okay, anyone else? Okay, so it means that beta greater than 1, it means that the security price will be very much volatile. A volatility means it will be in any shape. It can go up, it can go down. So when beta will be high, it means that the security price is in volatility shape, in a high volatility shape. In volatility, you can earn. When it will be lower than, then there will be a low volatility. Volatility means it will be stuck. It will be stuck at one place. The businesses will be slow. The purchase and sale, there will be, like you can say, there was a concept of bullish and bearish trend, if you remember. You remember the concept of bullish and bearish trend? Okay, so in bearish trend, what will be there? There will be a bull. Bull means bull's eyes. There will be a the stock variations.
Prices increase.
Yeah. So, yes, so there will be like, and this will come because of the purchase and sale, because of the daily stocking, because of the security prices variations, and selling and purchase is very high. Similarly, the bullish trend, there is a bull and bearish. So in this concept, based on this concept, the market volatility can be judged. If the security price is highly volatile, the beta will be greater than 1. If the security price is low, the beta volatility will be low, and when the security volatility will be low, and when the security volatility is low, the investor will be passive, the investor will take minimum risk, the investor will be defensive, while when beta will be greater, obviously he will think that the security is moving very fast, the security prices is moving very fast. That's why he can see a chance of return, a positive return into it. Okay. Is it okay? Okay.
Yes,
so I think so this is enough for today, and I'm just going to share the slides with you people, and thank you so much for giving me time. If you have any question, you can just discuss with me. Okay.
सर जी एक चीज
थैंक यू सो मच सर।
जी प्लीज।
सर ये ऑन कैंपस क्लासेस कब तक एक्सपेक्टेड है?
ये तो हमारा दिल चाहता है ऑन कैंपस हो, फिर लेकिन ये है कि इट्स सब्जेक्ट टू द मैनेजमेंट डिसीजन, सब्जेक्ट टू हायर एजुकेशन कमीशन डिसीजन एंड सो ऑन।
मतलब नेक्स्ट वीक में कुछ कह रहे थे ना कि शुरू होंगे, तो मैंने सिर्फ एक्सपेक्टेशन पूछ रहा हूँ।
एक्सपेक्टेशन ये है कि बीटा लेस देन 1 है।
जी सर थैंक यू सर।
ओके,
एनीवन एल्स? आपको पता है कुछ कब से स्टार्ट होंगे? जी सर, पेपर्स कब से मिड्स के होंगे और ऑनलाइन होंगे या ऑन कैंपस होंगे? कुछ आइडिया है इस बारे में?
नेक्स्ट 24 हो जाएंगे क्योंकि के उससे आपके पेपर है।
सर रिपीट कर दें, कब से?
नेक्स्ट वीक आपके 24 के टार कंप्लीट हो जाएंगे, उससे नेक्स्ट वीक आपके पेपर है। Got it?
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
ओके
और कंप्लीट होने के बाद आपके मिड टर्म होगा उससे अगले वीक इंशाल्लाह।
सर ऑन कैंपस होंगे या ऑनलाइन होंगे सर, इससे रिलेटेड कोई इंफॉर्मेशन?
नॉट डिसाइडेड येट, जो भी हो डोंट वरी। चैप्टर नंबर 1 देखें, चैप्टर नंबर 2 देखें, और आज जो भेज रहा हूँ ये देखें, और जनरली जो रिसर्च का वीडियो है वो देखें। यू विल बी देयर, ओके, डोंट वरी।
थैंक यू सर।
ये तैयब महमूद अभी ज्वाइन कर रहा है, तो उसको कहा अभी तो बीटा इक्वल टू 1 हो गया। गुड लक, हैव अ सेफ वीक।
थैंक यू सर, यू टू सर, यू टू।
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Allah.
थैंक यू।
Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir. Allah Hafiz.